Shut up. Y'all know that my family's from Florida. I'm wearing this for a reason. Okay? It's playoff season, buddy. Okay? I'm still Blueland heirs, but for today, allow me, just for today, to be Sunrise heirs. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Y'all know my family from the Fort Lauderdale and Metro Miami area. Did they team? Okay, my goat. This is a Luongo jersey. Y'all don't see the number one on the shoulder. It's my favorite player of all time. Okay, relax. I'm just saying. I'm not rolling with the cats. I don't have to explain nothing to y'all. Okay, this episode 7 of the Live from Blueland podcast. I told you, you got poor taste because this podcast sucks. Probably like my picks in the bracket challenge are going to as well. That's okay. Let's roll the intro. It's playoff time. Y'all already know what we about to do, and I know you've been waiting. It's the Live from Blueland podcast. What we got on top for episode 7. The Stanley Cup playoff matchups are set and the big dance begins today. Every season, anyone can take Lord Stanley's Cup home, and this is no different. From the Big Apple to South Florida, from Sin City to the Mile High City, we about to make these picks. And the Coyotes have officially been moved to Salt Lake City following the Board of Governors' unanimous vote. We're recapping their goodbye to Arizona from Wednesday, how the NHL plans to return to the market, and Utah going forward in the NHL. Episode 7, let's get it. Now, last week's episode was very emotional, but there was so much to talk about that would get us to this point. So it was crazy. It was almost like last week was a part 1 for this to be the part 2. Obviously, this is a continuous podcast. And I tell y'all all the time in every single episode, the league never stops. The game of hockey never stops. Life never stops. But the events from last week had a bearing on this week. We got a lot to talk about. Boy, we about to turn up in this episode. Now, keep in mind, it is on the dot as I'm saying this, 2:00 in the morning. So I'm trying to be quiet, especially for my dog downstairs who's sleeping. Nonetheless, we got a lot to talk about, and there was a number of things that transpired last week that have an aftermath, and they bleed over into this week, including a team being relocated and how the city that they left has an inactive franchise and can restart it in a 5-year period, and a conundrum going on there, and a new city receiving a team and being excited for it, 5,000 people putting in ticket deposits, and then we get active teams that we have to worry about because there's a big dance going on from now on for the Stanley Cup. There's a lot, and it's episode 7 of the Live from Blueland podcast, baby. I hope I'm not counting wrong. Why can I cannot do that. I cannot do that. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to come back in this and edit it all weird, and it's gonna sound crazy. This is episode 7. I know that it is. It is episode 7. Wow. As you can see, you could have listened to any hockey podcast, and by now you've probably already switched to one. So if I'm just talking to myself, I love it. But no. But in all seriousness, it's your boy Blueland Airs. I'm your host. I want to thank y'all on socials, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, they all are going crazy. By the time I finish this podcast, I think I'll have 3,800 on TikTok, over 1,000 on Instagram, 200 something plus on YouTube, which these numbers may not seem staggering, but coming from somebody specifically on YouTube, I was putting up kind of low views. But I'm telling you, each and every single one of y'all as an individual means something to me. You tuning into my content because we're here to talk about hockey, baby, the game that we all love. So I appreciate y'all tuning in regardless. So yeah, this is a show that will probably run normal time. It'll probably be, fairly good run time, but I don't have that many topics to talk about today because the topics are mainly revolving around the NHL playoffs. The best time of year if you're a hockey fan. There's a number of people who don't watch hockey consistently like a number of us do, but they will only tune in at this time because it is notoriously known around sports. Playoff hockey hits different. People know it, people love it, and if you like me, oh my god, it's the best time of year in sports. 16 teams going in, somebody's got to prevail come June. We got 2 months of this. Y'all better strap in, man. I'm excited about it. And what we doing today on the podcast is what I told y'all I would do. I'm a deliver, and I'm going to be making my picks for the NHL Bracket Challenge. and filling out who I believe will go on to win the Stanley Cup, and basically round by round, every single series, who I think is going to prevail in this thing. So I'm excited about it, and I'm excited for y'all to be continuously watching along throughout the playoffs, coming back to this podcast and seeing, wow, Eris did not get one damn series right. Every single team he picked lost. And if that happens, I quite literally might delete my platform, because that will thoroughly piss me off, and then people going to say, I don't know puck. I know puck, buddy. You don't know puck. Okay? Nonetheless, and then the only other topic that I will finish the show with. So if you're a Coyotes fan, and you know, all the content I've made this week, you know, I've generated hundreds of thousands of views across the platforms, in the last, and really in the last week and a half, last week, it has been insane, and I appreciate y'all support wherever you listen to this. Spotify, Apple Music. He did it again. I did it again. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Oh my goodness. Probably gonna put a clip of this on TikTok. I don't know if I'm gonna do the full thing, but the TikTok episode, it did fine. It did fine. You know, experimentation. TikTok's trying to do long form content, and then on YouTube, y'all got my views jumping a little bit compared to what I used to get. I literally couldn't get on the podcast episodes. I was doing about 50, maybe 100 plus. On, you know, my YouTube shorts, oh my god, there was a time when I couldn't get 10 views, and then for y'all to have me clipping basically 1,000 now, and it's starting to really gain traction, man, I'm grateful for it. So we got some hockey to talk about. I will be finishing the show one last time discussing the Arizona Coyotes, and then discussing where they'll be going in Utah and Salt Lake City. NHL, boy, dominating the headlines, and you love to see it. If you love hockey, you love to see it. So I think I feel like we should just go ahead and get into the bracket challenge, and who is Blueland Eris picking in each series, in the Western Conference, in the Eastern Conference, and all the way down to the Cup. Who do I have winning the Cup? Shout out to all 16 teams who have made it. Shout out to y'all fan bases. Best of luck in your quest for the Cup, because somebody gonna be attending a parade this summer. Let me tell you that, and somebody gonna be raising a banner this fall. Hopefully, it's your team if they are participating. If your team is not participating, hopefully y'all not on too long of a drought. I know Buffalo is not gonna like that I said that, and some other franchises as well. But hopefully y'all not on too long of a drought, and we hope to see you next season or in the coming seasons. At some point, it's time to get into the bracket. I want to let y'all know how I was picking and just basically who I came up with. I'm going to pull up the bracket because I clearly have lost it again. So if you don't know, I put an announcement out today on Instagram and on TikTok that you can join my bracket challenge. Join Blueland Eris' bracket challenge. The link will be below, and y'all can get that, and you can be in my league, and we gonna see who comes out on top, and hopefully you do not come in last. I think the brackets close in 2 days, so go ahead and get that, fill yours out. Join our thing, hop in there, and have some fun with it. I also started a Discord. That link will also be in my bio. Hit that. It'll probably be my link tree, and then just go in there. And if you want to be a part of the Discord community, I had some demand for that, and we can chat about the bracket in there as the playoffs come together and our brackets become more and more busted with every passing game. So we're gonna go ahead and get into who Blueland Eris picked to go deep in their quest for the Cup, who I picked to win the whole thing, and series by series. And we're going to start out west, and we're going to start with the first series. Now this is crazy because we got the defending Stanley Cup champions coming in as wild card 2, and the Knights started the season 12-0-0, and they did not perform that way for the rest of the year, for a number of other factors. But we've got the defending Stanley Cup champions playing the number 1 seed now in the West. Very unorthodox here. But the Dallas Stars will be taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. And in this series, this is so tough. This is so tough. I want to say this before I even get into my predictions. Buddy, just because I didn't predict your team doesn't mean I hate you. I hate your team. I hate your players, or I hate your city. I do not. Dude, I had to make predictions. And I'm going to tell y'all straight up, I don't know if you watch the NHL playoffs, but let me tell you something. It would be illogical for me to go ahead and just pick all the top seeds. Y'all know that. This ain't the NBA. This is the NHL playoffs. And I'm sorry, but this is bad news for some of you. Many of your teams who you thought were going to be a contender are going to go out in the first round. More in addition to that, because I'm trying to brace some of y'all. This doesn't mean this is going to happen to you, but I'm talking to somebody who this is going to happen to. This will happen to your team. It happens every postseason in the NHL. Not only will your team that you thought was going to bring the Cup home, are they going to go out in the first round? But they're going to get probably thoroughly embarrassed. Now, somebody needed to hear that. So if I'm making a prediction, this is just what I think. And I want to be clear. All these teams in the first round can win. Every single one of them. It's the NHL playoffs. This is the most chaotic postseason. The MLB as well. The MLB for show as well. But this is like March Madness pro sports, and with less teams than even March Madness has. Anybody can prevail here. So get out your feelings, buddy. Okay, I'm making predictions. I'm sure you've seen everybody's predictions at this point. You're probably surfing on YouTube, TikTok, see who everybody's picking, filled out your own bracket challenge. Relax. But I gotta pick somebody, and somebody gotta go home. Really, everybody gonna go home. Only one is gonna go home with the Stanley Cup in the end, come June. In this Dallas Stars and Vegas Golden Knights series, I've got the Dallas Stars winning this series in 6 games, which feels so weird to say because this will be another year where the defending Stanley Cup champions go out in the first round. Now, last year with the Colorado Avalanche, who I will get to, they went out to the Seattle Kraken, and they should have won that series. They were up 3-2, weren't they? They were up 3-2. They lost it. They lost it in Colorado. They should have won that series. Come on now. Kraken, that's a first playoff appearance in franchise history. Some playoff inexperience on that team, and the defending champs, while battling some injuries throughout the season and then kind of putting it back together healthy come the postseason. Like, they should have won that series, and it actually shouldn't have even been in 7 games if we're being real. So I have another one here where the defending champs will be going out in the first round. Listen, I talked about this, and I'm going to talk about who I actually have winning the cup, but I've already said, and I'm gonna insert the clip at some point in here. I'm going to insert the clip that at some point in here, I imagine. But I told y'all, you got to be thinking that the Dallas Stars should be like in the top 2 in terms of being favorites to bring the cup home. Dallas is a freight train, and I'm just going to be honest in this series because I do think this is going to be a battle. Don't be shocked if this goes to 7 as well. But I believe that I just feel like, no pun intended, but I trust the stars of the Stars more for this series and in this matchup than I do Vegas at the moment. Jason Robertson, Joe Pavelski, who is not affected by father time. That's not his father. Joe Pavelski is unaffected. Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin, I talked about, they were the two-headed monster here, and they have now deferred the throne, allowed the other stars in Dallas, no pun intended, but to take the mantle while they assume leadership roles and still contribute. You've got X-Factor guys, I believe, like Roope Hintz, Wyatt Johnston. This is going to be a tough team to battle. Miro Heiskanen, X-Factor dude again, Matt Duchene. They said he fell off. Some people thought at one point when he hit a lull in his career and it was post-Colorado and people were wondering what he was going to do. He had some struggles there in Nashville, put it back together, some struggles. People were wondering if he'd even be the league right now. He might get a Stanley Cup right here. He's part of the X Factors on this group. And in addition to this, goaltending means everything in the game of hockey, and it really means everything in the playoffs. It is the most important thing in the playoffs. They talk about defense wins championships. Well, who better to prove that than the position that is literally known as the last line of defense? And Jake Ottinger is heating up. He has played better down the stretch, and he did not start well, but it is not how you start. Come on now. How many times have we seen that? It is not how you start. It is how you finish. I know I got some St. Louis Blues. I'm going to have at least one St. Louis Blue fan in here that knows exactly what I'm saying. Come on now. It's not how you started, it's how you finished. And the Otter is heating up. Now, Jack Eichel missed a lot of games this year. He's back. Mark Stone, and I know some people, LTIR, Vegas, come on, it looks sketchy. Y'all got to admit, that looks sketchy, bruh. Now, y'all are hated for an assortment of reasons, but that only adds to the hate. Mark Stone, kind of magically, is cleared and ready for action to go back in the playoffs. But just because, I'm not going to accuse y'all of nothing, but just because you maybe finessing the LTIR system doesn't mean that you're not going to have some LTIR rust. And I think that might affect the Golden Knights at least a little bit in this series. And again, they're running into a sky full of stars. Shout out to Coldplay. Now, Thompson and Hill can be the aces for Vegas here and outplay Ottinger, and that's where you see Vegas could win this series. And it would be tough to see Dallas, after a stellar season, go out early. Oh, man. But this is the beauty of the NHL. You are getting a Western Conference final rematch from last year in the first damn round. Unreal. But I've got the Dallas Stars winning this in 6. Viva Las Vegas. Knights fans, don't be mad at me. Again, nobody better be sensitive about this. Get out of your feelings. You literally won a cup last year. You'll live. I promise you. Speaking of teams who have won cups recently, the Colorado Avalanche 2 years ago. I told you, they climbed the mountain to bring the Stanley Cup back to the Rocky Mountains. They will be playing a team that I'm very familiar with because it is a team that left my city. They're not the Thrashers anymore. They're the Winnipeg Jets. And this alone already ties them for how many postseason appearances they had in 12 years here in Atlanta. But nonetheless, people are going to say I'm being salty. Oh, you're just mad because they relocated. Buddy, my city's like one of the top candidates for expansion, and everybody at this point knows that we're going to get it. We're square. I promise you I'm fine. I promise you I'm fine. No one down here hates the Winnipeg Jets. That's the thing. Jets fans, if y'all listening to me, sometimes y'all reach out to me and y'all say, hey, dude, I was just wondering who you root for nowadays and who people in Atlanta root for. Like, do you guys root for the Jets? Do you guys hate Winnipeg for taking your team? Again, I'm going to tell you guys like I tell people in the DMs because that's a common DM that I get. Nobody in here hates Winnipeg. Nobody in the ATL despises the Jets, but I will tell y'all, I don't really know any Winnipeg Jets fans down here like that. Obviously, there were some that followed the team, but y'all, Winnipeg is 1,000+ miles away from Atlanta. People not really interested in supporting the team from that far away. And in addition to that, I'm not saying market size really matters to that degree when you're picking a team to support, but it's just there's no identity with Winnipeg. It's so that's kind of why nobody here has any animosity towards Winnipeg. So don't act like, oh, you're not picking us in this series because you're mad. No, you get out your feelings. You're facing the Colorado Avalanche, and I think this is going to be a dog fight. It's going to be a fighter jet fight. I messed that up. Anyway, I have the Colorado Avalanche in this series with the Winnipeg Jets emerging in 7 games. This is going to be a straight-up fight. And I'm going to tell the Avalanche fans right now, this is not going to be a walk in the park, and I think y'all know that. This was a duel to see who even would get home first. It was tight in the Central Division. For all the top 3 teams, it was tight. And then the Predators was making a threat like they was going to get into the top 3 for a while. But it was tight in there. And I'm going to tell Avs fans right now, the whiteout is coming. The whiteout is coming. And the Jets will be fueled for that. Listen, Winnipeg is built to win the cup. Again, this is actually this is a team that I can't pick in the first round to win this series, but I think they are one of the top 5 favorites to win the cup. It's unreal. And I'm going to talk about that in the next round and how that, and it's just insane. It's so hard to predict these. My bracket is going to be garbage. Winnipeg is built to win the cup. I trust Colorado a bit more because of who they're led by, and it starts with the Hart Trophy winner. Well, who I think will win the Hart Trophy. We don't know yet, but he's the favorite to most people. I think he's the betting odds favorite, and he should win it. Nathan McKinnon. I think this year's MVP leading Colorado, that is the difference. They've got a former Norris Trophy winner there. Arguably, most people think the best defenseman in the NHL right now, Cale Makar, even if he doesn't win the Norris. I'm going to talk about the actual who I believe, and I've been saying this since around Thanksgiving, who I think the Norris Trophy winner. I've been saying this really since around Halloween. Who I think will win the Norris Trophy, we'll talk about him. He's in the playoffs. We'll talk about him very shortly. But Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen, 100+ points. Like, that's another player he is not talked about enough. And I'm sorry, the Avalanche have that championship pedigree. Last year, they shouldn't have gone out like that. But righting a wrong, coming back. Yeah, we went out early last year. The year before that, we brought a cup home. How about we make it 2 out of 3? They feel in that type of way. Is that who I picked to win the cup? You got to stay tuned for that. Or maybe you already know because you follow my content enough. But we'll unwrap this like a burrito, okay? Layers, onion, layers, okay? But like I said, Winnipeg is built to win a cup. So do not be mistaken. Winnipeg has the wall of Winnipeg. I've told people that the Avs are going to have to beat Connor Hellebuyck for a series. That's going to be hard as hell. He went in the Vezina this year. And then when you got guys like Scheifele, when you've got Nikolai Ehlers, when you got Kyle Connors out there, Josh Morrissey, they are a team that is built to win the cup. Do not be mistaken, but it is about who you match up with in the first round, and it is a tough league. It is a tough league. There's so much parity This can go either way. That's why I'm saying it's going to 7. And I, as a result, I'm saying that the Avalanche are going to go win that one in Winnipeg. But I don't think that's far-fetched considering the makeup of this team. I think the Avs are a little bit more top-heavy than the Jets, but that top-heavy, again, is led by the league MVP and arguably the best defenseman in the game, and then another player who has 100 points. The goaltending matchup in this series is lopsided. I already brought up the Wall of Winnipeg, Connor Hellebuyck. But some Avs fans, listen, Alexander Georgiev, buddy, you are not brick walling this year. I mean, I'm talking about you would let a beach ball in this year, and I'm not even trying to be shady towards him. But you've got Avs fans. I've seen the comments on Colorado Avalanche posts where they're clamoring for a Noonan to start in the playoffs over Georgiev. Georgiev, I believe, had the worst goaltending stats of any goalie that was named in NHL All-Star in league history, or it was up there. It's really been more indicative of the team in front of him, and he was the wins leader in the league with awful numbers, sub 900 save percentage, and almost a 3 goals against average if he didn't have it. I should have pulled them up. But if you want to talk about this series and why I think this is going to 7, you can chop it up at this statement alone. The Avalanche scored more goals this season in the NHL than any other team. The Winnipeg Jets allowed the fewest goals out of all 32 NHL teams. This is the best scoring team versus the best defensive team in the first round. Oh my goodness. I don't want to hear nothing. I love the NFL. I love the NBA. I love the MLB. I love the MLS. I don't want to hear nothing else that the NHL doesn't have the best postseason. Y'all got my post talking about that, and I used the Kid Leroy's Nights Like This. That's like my favorite song at the moment. As y'all got that, it's doing like 10,000 views a day at this point on Instagram. I was spitting in that. This sport has the best postseason. We're going to move on. So far, I've got the Stars and the Avs. Y'all will be advancing. You've been promoted. You are now one of my elite employees. The Nashville Predators, the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks are back in the postseason. Again, I've talked about this team before, and finally they just stopped. Behind Coach Talk, this team has put together consistency. Obviously, they went to the playoffs in 2020. I know that was a weird season, but they would have made it anyway. From what I recall, they would have just made it anyway, even if there wasn't like an altered playoffs. And finally, this team has stopped playing like idiots and developed consistency and matches the performance on the ice to how the team looks on paper. And let me tell you something. This series, it may be easy to say. It's easy to pick Vancouver, but I already told y'all earlier. Not all ones in their division will make it. Not all top seeds will make it. Y'all not gonna like me. Vancouver, y'all not gonna like me, and that's fine. Something feels wrong here. I feel like the Nashville Predators will beat the Vancouver Canucks in 6 games. It should not happen. Duh, on paper, the Vancouver Canucks should win this series. Something feels weird here. I know I'm not the only one that feels like there is something weird brewing in Nashville, in Music City. Thatcher Demko is getting back in the swing of things in net for the Vancouver Canucks, one of the best goaltenders in the league. Now, he looked unreal against the Flames on April 16th. I checked his numbers and everything. I think he had 39 saves on 40 shots on goal. Crazy. He was unreal in the game he returned on April 16th. 2 days later, he didn't look so unreal against the Winnipeg Jets. A great start and a not so great start going into the playoffs. How will Thatcher Demko perform? Is there any rust? Across from him, for the Nashville Predators, is another one of the best goalies on the planet, UC Saros. He was the torchbearer of Pekka Rinne. He's been the man in Nashville for a couple years now. You're going to hear Juice a lot in this series. He's going to have his day a couple times. He's not going to have I can't imagine UC Saros just wets the bed here in this series. Just craps the bed. And is just Swiss cheese. I can't imagine that. Now, his numbers in his last 3 starts are a little pump album. his numbers in his last 3 starts, it's like a Lil Pump album. Trash. I'm not going to lie. Juice. You got to put it together. When the postseason starts, it's a different game, though. You'll be amazed how some players will turn it around. Y'all know it. Y'all know a game like me. If you're a new hockey fan, watch. This is a great postseason for you to start with. Every postseason is. It can shift that quickly, and he can immediately become a brick wall. Both finished very similarly in their final 10. I think it was right. I want to say it was right around 400. I believe that in the last 10. If I get this right off the top of my head, give me a sub, or give me a good review on the Spotify podcast. Like, just do something. I deserve some type of credit here. But I believe the Canucks finished 5-4-1 in their last 10, and then the Predators were 4-5-1 in their last 10. Like both, like 500 essentially, close to it in their last 10 games to close out the season. I hate going against JT Miller, Elias Pettersson, Brock Besser here, Quinn Hughes, Thatcher Demko. The Canucks are nice. I'm one of the biggest advocates for them. Again, this is a Luongo jersey, buddy. This is a Luongo jersey. My favorite player of all time. I was like a Canucks fan for a while because my favorite player played there. And Tuckett's got them straight skating, but it just feels like something is brewing in Nashville. With Forza Forsberg, with Nyquist, with the Roman Empire, Roman Yossi, if Juice really puts it together in this series, not all the top seeds will advance. Vancouver, I feel like y'all still need more playoff experience before y'all start making deep runs. Those deep runs I do believe are coming. I don't think this is it. Now, you could say the same for Nashville. They got some dudes that haven't had deep playoff runs, but I don't know. And because I don't know, I'm telling you, some of these top seeds are not going to go, and that's why I've got the Nashville Predators beating the Canucks in 6 games. Something just don't feel right. There's one more first-round series out in the West, and I know that the Los Angeles Kings are getting tired of this. I know they're sick of this. But the Edmonton Oilers will be taking on the Los Angeles Kings. Now, LA. I get it. But how y'all feeling going into this series? What's y'all confidence level at? I'm not trying to be shady. I'm not a shady individual. But I don't think that this Kings team this season, and y'all started so hot. Another team that started hot and they just couldn't put it together. And y'all are so streaky. But I don't think that this Los Angeles Kings team is necessarily better than the Kings teams that in the past, hasn't it been 3 years in a row of this series? This will be the 3rd year. In the past years, the past 2 times, I don't think that this specific Los Angeles Kings team is better than the last 2 Los Angeles Kings teams that lost to those Edmonton Oilers teams. And I feel like this Edmonton Oilers team is better than those Edmonton Oilers teams that beat those past LA Kings teams. With that being said, I don't think this is a sweep because Edmonton typically gives away games in the postseason. They do. In fact, if anything, this actually should go to 6 or 7. But I've got the Edmonton Oilers winning this series in 5 games. And I know Kings fans are sick. They're sick. They're tired of playing this damn team. It's like, why does this always happen? I get it. I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. If they play the Phillies again in the playoffs this year, they're probably going to lose to them again. They're scared of them. The Phillies are literally their daddy for no reason. They see a Phillies jersey and they forget how to play baseball. They could play the all-time MLB team and win 16-2. Injured with half the Braves team out, but at full strength, they could play the Phillies practice squad and lose 8-0 for a whole playoff series. So I get it. When you have to keep playing the same team in the postseason, we got to talk about that on the East side in a second. I already know their heart just dropped because they know I'm coming to them. But we got to talk about that and that same dynamic on the East side. But Kings fans, I'm sorry. You are facing the reigning MVP. He's coming off a 100-point season, another Hart Trophy candidate on that team, and Stuart Skinner and Calvin Pickard. Oh my goodness, y'all remember how it started in goaltending for the Oilers? They've put it together. And you're mainly going to be dealing with Skinner, I think. I don't think Pickard's going to really need to come in this series at all. The Kings, y'all got a good mix of vets Doughty and Kopi's still there. Y'all know I love Quentin Byfield, man. He's putting it together. One of the future stars of the game, and everybody recognizes it. Trevor Moore, underrated. Kevin Fiala, what a great pickup for them. And to the detriment of the Minnesota Wild. Cam Talbot, streaky season in goal, but overall good, all-star. But Kings fans, you got to understand what I'm saying. I think it's 5 games. The Oilers typically give one away. I think the Oilers probably give up that game 4, game 5. I don't think the Kings are winning one on the road. We've seen them do that in Edmonton before, though. But we've also seen, like, Kings fans, we've also seen y'all drop these series at other times when I picked y'all to beat the Oilers in past years. But y'all didn't know me then. Y'all didn't know me back then. I got the Oilers winning. So in the West, in the second round, we will have the Stars versus the Avalanche. And we will have the Edmonton Oilers versus the Nashville Predators, according to Blueland Eris. Watch all of those teams lose. Let's move over to the East before we come back to the West. Y'all see what jersey I'm wearing. My family lives in Fort Lauderdale and the Metro Miami area. Very close to Sunrise. I got family very close to Sunrise as well. Let me tell you something. My dad went to, I think I told y'all this on the podcast last week, I think, actually. Or maybe I said it in a TikTok video or something. I just said this somewhere. I'm pretty sure it was in episode 6 where I said that my dad went to Florida last week for my grandmother's birthday. And he rekindled with an old friend who now works for the Panthers organization and can get us free playoff tickets. Now, me and my father are preoccupied this weekend. We will not be able to attend these, but I'm not a Panthers fan, but I would like to see Luongo get a cup here. That's my GOAT, and he's obviously part of the Panthers organization. And I would love to see my GOAT thrive away from now off the ice. And in addition to that, I would like to go to a playoff game and cosplay as a Panthers fan again, because I was a Panthers fan for the years that Luongo played there. And then when he dipped, I was like, F this, I'm out. Because I was not trying to support the Panthers. I'm not going to lie. I don't have nothing against y'all, but I was like, bro, this is I might as well, this is basically being a Thrashers fan all over again. I was like, no, I'm not supporting this. No offense. My GOAT's gone. I'm out of here. Best of luck to y'all, because y'all in my family's area. But let me tell you something. Y'all see this jersey. Well, we about to talk about this team series because it's the Battle of Florida. The Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning, one of the most violent rivalries in sports. And it was lopsided for a couple years. It ain't lopsided no more. It's a fight. I'm not going to call it a cat fight. That's crazy. But it is a fight. And in terms of a fight, I think this one's going to go 6 rounds. Rounds as in games. With the Florida Panthers prevailing over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Panthers in 6 for me. For the series, the police... This is going to be a very violent series. The police should probably be on standby for this series. I'm not going to lie. I don't think refs are going to be able to control this. I don't think it will be like, y'all know in WWE, another wrestling reference, y'all got to love me. They're going to ask me to make wrestling content at some point. Y'all know in WWE when the refs will see somebody getting jumped and they'll just sit there and like not stop it. They'll be, what are you doing? Come on, stop. And like the dude's just wailing on the other guy with a chair. That's what the refs will have to deal with this. And so I think the National Guard should probably, like, they've got to get the National Guard. Like, just have police or armed forces rinkside, because this is just going to get out of hand. I'm talking about from the minute the puck drops. Might start with a line brawl. Imagine in the playoffs. So the Battle of Florida, the East has been running through Florida for the last couple of years, which is so funny because a lot of people, traditional, they're people trying to hold the game of hockey back, but some people up north will say, oh, the game doesn't belong in Florida. Well, y'all team's not doing a good job of defending y'all. Now, of course, those teams are made of players, from overseas, and there's Canadian players there too, and from northern U.S. markets as well. But the Panthers went to the Cup last year. And the Lightning went before that, and the year before that. The East runs through Florida and has for the last couple years. Listen, the Panthers are going to have something to say about 2022, Lightning fans. Again, I got family in Tampa. I've told y'all that before. I've got family in Tampa on both sides. So and I've turned, obviously, playing travel around the country, I've turned my family into hockey fans, but my family's not going to be able to get us Tampa Bay Lightning tickets. First of all, they already sold out. And really, the Panthers fans' tickets are probably just about sold out too, but, we got more of a hookup there. Panthers going to have something to say about 2022 when the Lightning beat the soul out of the Panthers and laughed at them while they did it. That was not a Battle of Florida. That was the bullying of Florida. But it's a different day and age. And by different day and age, I mean 730 days different. Anyway, quick maths. The Cats have to find a way to find Kucherov. I'm not going to lie. This is 100 assists this year. It's not just about his goal scoring. It is about the facilitating and getting Stamkos involved. One of the best goal scorers since the turn of the century, getting Braden Point involved. All-star. One of the best playoff performers in the last decade, I would argue, in the NHL. Victor Hedman. One of the best defensemen we've seen in the last decade in the NHL. Even if you think he's not, for a number of years, he was the best defenseman, but he's still in that upper echelon. And Andrei Vasilevsky, one of the best goalies, consistently we've seen for the last decade. Even if he's been streaky and putting it together, has some injury troubles. But the Cats are mainly going to have to find a way to stop Kucherov. Now, if the Bolts win this series, which is very possible, their championship window is not closed. Remember, if you've been following your boy Blueland Harris, if you've been following me for a while, especially since at the beginning of me starting my platform on TikTok, I told y'all the Tampa Bay Lightning, their championship window is not closed. This team can still be a contender. They really can. I want to tell the Panthers right now. I believe when I looked it up, the Tampa Bay Lightning have the best power play in the league. Panthers, that doesn't bode well for y'all. Y'all got to kill that. Cats looking to finish the job from last year. Obviously, came up short when it came to facing the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup Final. The year before, they were the President's Trophy team and screwed all that up when they faced their rivals in Florida and got little brothered like they have for the majority of their history. And then last year, they did not have a good regular season, and I think they had some injury troubles too, but they kind of were dragging their feet. And then when they got to the playoffs, they pulled a Miami Heat. Coincidentally, Miami was just South Florida was jumping last year when they both made Cinderella runs from the last seed in their respective conferences in their respective leagues and went all the way to the championships and came up short. But they're trying to finish the job from last year. This is a deep roster. Matthew Tkachuk, who I am not a huge fan of, but you gotta admit he gets it done, and this is a clutch player. Sam Reinhart, a net filler. Unreal! What a unreal random goal scoring season. It doesn't make it less random just because we've gotten used to it now. Sam Reinhart was second in the league in goals, right? He was second. I'm pretty sure he was second. Sasha Barkov, elite, been for years. Carter Verhaeghe, one of the most underrated players in the game. They got Eric Ekblad coming up. You've got Sergei Bobrovsky in net, elite goaltender, one of the best really since the turn of the century. Be real. And I've got the Panthers going over in 6 because of that. It's going to be a fight, entertaining series, 6 games. Panthers avenge the Lightning, and they're like, dude, I'm not your little brother anymore. I talked about how some teams get tired of facing a specific team in the postseason. When I talked about the Kings and the Oilers and my Braves facing the Phillies. The Toronto Maple Leafs feel this because we're about to get another rendition in history of the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the Boston Bruins. Leafs fans, y'all are one of the most ravenous, and to be honest, y'all have to admit this too. Y'all are one of the most annoying fan bases in the history of the sport. Y'all are one of the most annoying fan bases in the sport. Y'all know that y'all are in that Dallas Cowboys, New York Knicks realm. Y'all know y'all are LA Dodgers, New York Yankees. Y'all know y'all are in that group of pro sports teams where y'all are just annoying. And specifically, y'all are like the Cowboys and the Knicks because you are like kind of the flagship franchise of the sport, and you don't bring championships in. You got to stop that. You've got to capitalize on this window. Leafs fans, I really don't want to hear it. I know y'all are tired. I know you think about 2013, 2018, 2019. It's a new day. But I've got the Boston Bruins beating the Toronto Maple Leafs. Oh, they're tired of hearing this. In 7 games. This series will be goals galore. If I'm saying a series can go to 7 games, you should know by default that the team has a chance to win. Literally, you're 3 periods away. So I'm giving the Leafs a chance to win. And let's not act like this team can't win in the first round. Listen, they got over that hump last year. They did get over that hump last year when they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. That was a demon they had to conquer beating the Lightning. Will they do it again here against the Bruins? This will be a series of goals to me. You got Pasta La Vista over on that side, Brad Marchand. You got people that can fill the net over on the Boston side. But you want to talk about filling net? You want to talk about goal scorers? Let's talk about the best one on the planet actively playing. Austin Matthews with 69 goals. Giggity. Almost got 70. And this, to me, this is going to be goal scoring galore. And because of that, it always comes down to goaltending. But who's your pick? Are you rocking with Swayman and Linus Ullmark if he runs into trouble? Last year's Vezina winner. And Swayman will finish as a finalist this year. This is one of the best goaltending tandems in history. One of the best 1A, 1Bs in history. Or are you going to take Samsonov, who Leafs fans not loving? He's a little streaky. Or are you going to take Wall, who has the most marketable name? The most marketable name of any goaltender literally in the history of the game, I would argue. Like, come on. I know Leafs fans have nightmares. And Demons to Conquer from 2013. That was unreal watching that as a kid. I didn't watch it live, but I think I saw it on SportsCenter the morning I woke up. I think it was a school night. So crazy. And 2018 and 2019. And it's, again, I'm saying y'all can win the series. I've just got the Bruins winning. Something just, they're going to be mad. Charlie McAvoy, you got to stop David Pastrnak, Brad Marchand. And Austin going to do his thing in this series. I don't see him going cold. Mitch Marner, Willie Nylander. Listen, it's going to be a fight. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be a fight. And I've got it going to 7, but I do have the Boston Bruins winning this thing. I'm just going to be completely real with y'all. I'm just going to be completely real. Leafs fans about to raid and light my content up. Let's move on to the next series before they do that. This is another fan base. Original 6 team and a fan base that is very loud and vocal. And boy, they had an embarrassing exit last year. They cannot let that happen again. The President's Trophy team, the New York Rangers, and they're taking on a team that, like I said when I did the intros, they could have seen this season as a lost cause, the Washington Capitals. They did not. Now, with that being said, we are witnessing the second wild card team in the Eastern Conference, who I believe has the lowest point total going into the postseason of all teams, facing the best team in the league. So this is 1 versus 16, I believe, really. And with that being said, it is not a sweep to me. I don't think it's a sweep, but it is close. I've got the New York Rangers prevailing over the Washington Capitals in 5 games. Listen, the Rangers fans, I need y'all to listen to me. This team cannot collapse like they did last year to the New Jersey Devils. Now y'all ain't friends with the Capitals. This is a rivalry series too, but that was more exceptionally bad because it was the Devils, and oh man, that was just bad. And not only that, but y'all had the NHL Avengers. Now, I talked about this last year. I picked the Rangers to pick the. I didn't said it already. I picked the Rangers last year to win the Stanley Cup. And last year, and I said this year, they were my pick again. If you've been following my content, you already knew that, so that wasn't a spoiler. I picked them going into the year again, and I like to, unless my pick just misses the playoffs, I like to ride with my pick all the way through because I want to try to get it right from the jump all the way through. It's very hard to do. But I feel like they came into this year and it was addition by subtraction. They tried to do too much. They had a roster that already went to the conference final the year prior and came up short against the Tampa Bay Lightning, but was close and was really threatening to win that series. And then they added more. They were like, oh, well, we're going to bring this roster and put Patrick Kane on it and Vladimir Tarasenko. You're doing too much. Those two are gone. The VT, a part of this crew, and then Patrick Kane, a part of a team that literally missed the playoffs in the last hour of the regular season. Actually, in the last, 5 minutes of their season. Oh, man, that was crazy. I should have actually made that a segment on this show, but y'all will get over it. And now the Rangers, I think it was an addition by subtraction type thing, but, I just don't see how this Capitals team You got guys like Dylan Strome, Ovi, arguably the greatest goal scorer in the history of the game, John Carlson. But this Capitals team, I feel like they lack the depth to somehow muster up 4 wins on Breadman Artemi Panarin, to beat Igor Shesterkin, Adam Fox, and K'Andre Miller on the blue line, Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider. It is so much. It's going to be so much for them to deal with. I'm just being real. And with the Rangers knowing that last year was pretty embarrassing when they were like the cup favorite really on paper, they can't let that happen again, and y'all better not let it happen again. Alex Lafreniere, like they got dogs. They got dogs, and I think that's going to run out the Capitals. I almost want to change this to a sweep. I'm not trying to do Capitals fans like that because y'all are playing so good at going into the playoffs that I don't think that they're just going to sweep y'all. That's part of the reason why. I think y'all will get them in one game. But Dylan Strome was the top point getter on the Washington Capitals. I want to say he had 65 points. I forget. I didn't write his point total down. Maybe 67 points. There are 5 guys on the Rangers that have more than that. Then the Caps' top scorer. I've got the Rangers. I've got the Tom Wilson. Don't do something stupid and get suspended. That's going to make this worse, and I feel like that's going to happen. Come back to this if I got that right. Don't do something stupid. Somebody's going to get suspended in this series. Matt Rempe. Oh, my God. Are they going to play him? Y'all think they're going to play him in this series? Anyway. Rangers in 5 games of the Capitals. Sorry. Sorry to Washington. And then the last one we have out east is the Carolina Hurricanes versus the other New York team, the New York Islanders. They did it again. How many times have we seen the Islanders do that late postseason run and get in at the last second? They are turning in assignments at 11:59. They're a procrastinating college student personified as a hockey team. It's unreal. Now, I will say, I've had a couple 7-game series in this first round. I've had a couple 6 games. I think I had 2 5-game series in this. I haven't had a sweep. Oh, Islanders fans, you know where I'm going with that. Y'all finished the season hot. Again, all the teams in the playoffs can win their series. This is the NHL. This is not the NBA. I hate when my computer falls asleep like this. But this Hurricanes team, they finished the regular season hot as well. And playing like bats out of hell. Or like I said in the intro, running through opponents like a tropic storm. And I feel like if there is a sweep in the first round, there ain't no guarantee. None of them could be sweeps. And there might be multiple sweeps. And that would be depressing. Because don't nobody want to see that. I want the first round to be as long as it can be. 3 weeks. I want the first round to go that full 2+ weeks. Everybody go to 7, please. But if there's a sweep, I feel like this one seems the most likely out of the series. Islanders fans, don't tear me up, bro. I have nothing against y'all. Y'all know that. I'm just saying. If the Canes can't win this, Carolina, if y'all can't win this series, blow it up. I'm done. I'm not even playing. That's it. Y'all got to stop because this is getting ridiculous. Y'all, since ending that long playout drought that ran through a lot of my childhood, since ending that drought, I wasn't on y'all the first couple years because I don't think your championship window is just 2 years when you get back to the playoffs after a drought. But y'all, in your last 3 conference finals appearances, you've been swept in all of them. You're 0-12 in conference finals games since you won the cup. Like, dude, that is awful. I mean, that is awful. And in addition to that, you've had a number of times where you've just straight up, not even just about the conference finals, you've just come up short. It has got to stop. It has got to stop. When you're dealing with Sebastian Aho, Svechnikov, he's ready to go. Jake Gensel, what a pickup for them. Evgeny Kuznetsov, he could be an X factor reignited here. Freddie Krueger is back. Freddie Anderson, he is, oh my God, he's insane. And even if you're not with him, Kochetkov in net. It's going to be tough to beat them. Seth Jarvis, I love Brent Burns. Listen, this Canes team, I'm sorry. The Islanders have Matthew Barzal, They have Noah Dobson, dogs. Ilya Sorokin, dog. Semyon Varlamov also in net. So, these teams got options at goaltending, at goaltender. But I'm just saying, Islanders, y'all know y'all going against a team that had the best penalty kill in the entire league this regular season. That is tough. The power play you've got to capitalize on in the postseason. And from what I looked at, unless I examined too quickly and incorrectly, y'all don't have one of the top power plays. If the Hurricanes play discipline and y'all play erratic, they are going to cook y'all then. I don't want there to be a sweep. And the Canes could collapse in this, and the Islanders could capitalize, which would kind of be cool because then we get the Battle of New York. But I'm going to be honest, I don't have no sweep, and something feels wrong about that. And if there was a sweep, I feel like it would be this series. The Canes break the brooms out on the Islanders. You still made the postseason against all odds. People counted y'all out. No shame. Listen, we got to go to round 2. Let's go back out west, since we've given the East their time. The Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars is the first series up. You want to talk about the Royal Rumble? You want to talk about the Elimination Chamber? This is hell in a cell. I need this series. I don't even care, because if it was the Knights and the Jets, I would love it too. If it was the Knights, if it was the Knights and the Avs, I would love it. If it was the Jets and the Stars, oh my god, I just love the playoffs so much. I can't take it. It's gonna be a dope series if this is what we get. Again, I could be wrong on these predictions, and I'm making this for no reason, which is why I'm probably going to go more round by round, and I'm probably going to keep these predictions a little bit shorter than I did the first round, because the first round is guaranteed. These are hypotheticals that I've done based off my predictions for something that hasn't even transpired yet. So, but between the Colorado Avalanche and the Dallas Stars, now, I want to say, I did just say the Dallas Stars should be, next to the New York Rangers, your favorite to win the Stanley Cup final. It's so weird saying that, because then I match them up with Colorado Avalanche, and I can't pick them. How is that possible? So it's almost like I'm betting that the Jets beat the Avs, because then I give the Stars a better chance to beat the Jets. It's weird. It's about who you match up with, and it's crazy to say that. But I've got the Colorado Avalanche knocking off the top team in the Western Conference here, the Dallas Stars, in a full 7 games, which means I got this going either way, but it'll take 7 games. Something just seems like I just feel like, again, I could come back to Nathan McKinnon. I could come back to Nathan McKinnon all the time, and just how it's almost like the buck stops with him. Oh, man. The Stars have more depth to me. And I think I said, what didn't I say that in the first round series? I feel like the Jets have more depth than the Avalanche too, but it's man, the Avalanche and that championship pedigree. Now the Stars gonna be playing like bats out of hell. Isn't that a great reason to pick the Avs? Ayers, come on, you got to go back on that. This bracket is busted. I'm not confident in anything, but is anybody confident? How do y'all feel? Let me know in the comments. DM me. I just got the Avs in 7 over the Stars. That's going to be tough. I don't know. As for the other Western Conference series, it's the Edmonton Oilers versus the Nashville Predators. Now, the Predators, this is going to be hell travel for y'all. Move the Predators to the Eastern Conference. Matter of fact, an expansion, do Houston, go back to Arizona, because y'all are going to anyway. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. And then give like Kansas City or San Diego's doing an arena, put another team out there, do something, because y'all need to do Atlanta and then move Nashville over to the East, straight up. Oh, Quebec City going to be mad that I said that. I don't give a damn. But don't be mad at me for saying that. I'm just saying Nashville being in the West is insane for this reason. They got to go all the way out there multiple times if that series goes along with the Vancouver Canucks just to do it again against the Edmonton Oilers. And even if not, it's L.A. L.A. would be better than Edmonton. The flight is better, but in terms of distance and kind of visiting. But it's a business trip anyway. They're not turning up in L.A. But yeah, the Edmonton Oilers and the Nashville Predators. Lot of travel miles. Get your sky miles up on this one. But I've got the Edmonton Oilers beating the Nashville Predators in 6. Now, I said the Preds would prevail in their first series against all odds. I think it will stop here in a closely contested series, but Connor McDavid will be too much for the Nashville Predators offense. If you don't believe me, go back to that little spinny goal that he did earlier this season, which I believe was on the Predators. Am I wrong about that? Am I citing the wrong team as getting completely owned there? Anyway, yeah, and just Draisaitl. One person I didn't bring up was Zach Hyman, the most ridiculous damn 50-goal scorer I'm not saying he's not unskilled. We cannot say that. Y'all can't say that. He's not unskilled. However, let's not sit up here and act like Zach Hyman doesn't benefit from who he played with. And it was like that. Let's not act like Zach Hyman does not benefit from who he plays with. But his finishing around the net, it get different. It was like that for Zach Hyman too in Toronto though as well. Like he benefits from where he's at. But I mean, you got to be talented to benefit from those situations. He ain't no scrub. He ain't no janitor. So I'm going to call it what it is. So I've got the Edmonton Oilers prevailing over the Nashville Predators, who have a thrilling run and get Smashville excited about hockey like they always do in the postseason. It's going to be jumping up there. But I think the best player in the world going to put a stop to that in this series. And he's going to get close again. He's going to, Oilers are set for a deep run here. So the Avs and the Oilers, the Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference Final. But first, let's set up the Eastern Conference Final, where we will see in the semifinals first, the Florida Panthers and the Boston Bruins, and on the other side, the New York Rangers and Carolina Hurricanes. So I actually have both these series going to 6 games each. With that being said, Panthers versus Bruins. Oh, man. These two teams have a lot of people that I don't like. Brad Marchand, you right there, buddy. But anyway, the Florida Panthers. I got the Florida Panthers actually prevailing over the Boston Bruins here in 6 games. Feels like a 7-game series, but it's just like sometimes when you think it goes 7, it goes 6. Listen, I'm just making up stuff for why I think these series are going to go these ways. Like I said, I think both series will go to 6 games. And then on the other side, I've got the New York Rangers beating again my Stanley Cup pick. So I've got them beating the Edmonton Oilers. Hell no, the Carolina Hurricanes. In 6 games. You just want the Carolina Hurricanes to break through the glass ceiling. And although I don't like the Bruins at all, like it almost seems like the Bruins, God, I mean, it's like been 15 years of this where it just seems like they're right there. It just seems like they're right there and have not brought it back there in a minute. Well, since 2011? Is that the year they beat the Canucks? I'm tripping. So, but over a decade of, just being right there and not having one since that specific year when they conquered Luongo and the Sedin twins and a stacked Oilers team. Burrows was good. Edler was good. Bieksa should have been on that team. Oh, my. How did they not get a cup? But they ran into a good Boston team. It's Tim Thomas and them. And, oh, my. Lucic, Krejci, Big Z. Bergie, man, they had dogs, so you can't be like, why they didn't get one? They had dogs, bro. They had dogs. Oh, man, they had dogs. That's crazy. Anyway, that's one of the best Stanley Cup finals of all time, and you all know it if you've been a hockey fan for a while. So, yeah, Panthers and the New York Rangers set up a conference final. Going to try to get tickets to that. Panthers, please do not. They give it, we got a family hookup pretty much that's giving us free tickets to the game. Come on, bruh. Don't go out early. Don't do me like that, bro. Otherwise, when the Thrashers come back, I'm going to make sure that we run y'all through the mud. I'm going to drag y'all's name. Come on, bro. Please, I want to go to a playoff game. I've been to a Panthers playoff game. I went when they played the Islanders that one year in the postseason, and I went and they won. It was awesome. I want to go to a playoff game. I haven't been to an NHL game in a minute. Conference finals on both sides. The Colorado Avalanche and the Edmonton Oilers. We've seen this before from when the Edmonton Oilers went on to win the Stanley Cup, and they beat the Edmonton. When the Colorado Avalanche went on to win the Stanley Cup, and they beat the Edmonton Oilers in 2022 in a sweep. Wasn't it a sweep? My memory is like almost. It's almost good. It's like I question it, and I'm typically right all the time when I do stuff off the top of my head. This one ain't gonna be no sweep. Colorado, I ain't got y'all sweeping them this time. But I do have y'all beating them again. Something about the Oilers is it's almost like they're the Toronto Maple Leafs, but they make deeper runs. They have got McDavid's got to get a cup. Draisaitl's got to get a cup. Edmonton has got to get a cup. I talked about in the intro. They haven't had one since '90. First of all, Canada as a whole, y'all got 4 teams in it right now. Did I count that right? The Oilers, the Winnipeg Jets, the Vancouver Canucks, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Sens, the Habs, and the Flames. Y'all stayed at home. Sorry. But y'all got to bring something home. Y'all haven't won since '93 when the Habs won it. Y'all got to bring something home. I ain't going to lie to y'all. But I've got the Avalanche winning this one in 6 games. It just seems like the Oilers got to break through the glass ceiling, and until they do it, I'm probably just not gonna be able to pick them for a Stanley Cup because it always seems like something goes awry. Again, I don't have the Avs sweeping them this time, but I do have the Edmonton Oilers bowing out to them. In all honesty, it's a long podcast. And then on the Eastern side, to meet the Avalanche in the Stanley Cup Final, I've already said it. I've got the New York Rangers prevailing over the Florida Panthers. Which I would love to go to a Stanley Cup game, but nonetheless, I also would like to be right in front of the internet, which I typically don't care, but I want to be right here. It's so crazy because this, President's Trophy curse, I get it, but I got the Rangers beating the Panthers in 6 if they can get there. Oh my God, they're just so stacked, and that would be a hell of a series. I'm getting tired, y'all. I'm getting tired, and I'm hungry. I'm feeling so many emotions at the same time. It's hot as hell in this house. I should have turned the AC on. Anyway, let's go on to the Stanley Cup Final. We come into the end, towards the end of the show, where we will have in the Stanley Cup Final, on at least according to Blueland Aris's bracket, the Colorado Avalanche and the New York Rangers. Oh, it better go to 7. It better go to 7. And according to my bracket, now we're going to have on one side Nathan McKinnon, on one side Artemi Panarin, on one side Cale Makar, on the other side Adam Fox, on one side Georgiev, and then on the other side Igor Shesterkin. Oh boy, I wish Landeskog could be in this series, dude. On one side you got Mikko Rantanen, on the other side you got Chris Kreider and Zibanejad and Laugh, and oh man, it is the Rangers' depth that I believe sets them apart. I think it is 6 games, and like I've already told you, my Stanley Cup Final pick to end the drought for New York City in the Stanley Cup at 30 years since they last won the Cup, and to end the drought of and break the curse of a President's Trophy team, a President's Trophy winner winning the Cup. The New York Rangers prevail over the Colorado Avalanche. Aris's bracket probably gets busted after the first week, but that's the fun of doing this. It's the predictions. None of us know what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball, but most of my takes, you got to admit, I be spitting, bruh. And that's why I've built the community that I've built on multiple platforms, is because y'all know, I know what I'm talking about here. But again, I can't predict the future. I'm not Nostradamus. I'm not God. I'm not a script writer. We will see who prevails. But to me, like I told y'all back in October, and I'm here in April telling you again, I believe that the New York Rangers will win the Stanley Cup. I really wish they did not win the President's Trophy, though, so that I wouldn't have to deal with the President's Trophy curse. If they go out in the first damn round, like last year, I swear, I'll never pick them again, and then they're going to win it. It's going to be like how I was with the Capitals back when it's going to be like how I was back in the Capitals, but y'all didn't know me all them years ago. So let's transition out of the bracket challenge. Again, the link is down below. Discord, to get to the Discord, we can talk about our picks and everything. Chat in there. I'm building another platform for fans to chat about hockey and yap about puck. And then in addition to that, the big one, the bracket challenge. My invite's in there. Join the league. Don't come in last place. We're gonna have some fun with it, man. So go ahead and hop in there for that one. Now, we talked about 16 teams in the postseason, and now I want to talk about one team that, in a way, it's almost like we have 33 teams right now, but we talked about 16 teams in the postseason, and we got to talk about a team that is making a transition to another market. We witnessed a relocation, an expansion relocation, but nonetheless, we've got to talk about the Arizona Coyotes. Now, I already talked about last week and all that transpired. Go watch that episode if you didn't see it, but you've seen all the news and how fast that transpired. At the beginning of last week, you couldn't have told me that we'd be here that quickly. You couldn't have told the people in Arizona, and they voiced that. It transpired so quickly. But on Wednesday, the team played their final home game live from Mullet Arena against the Edmonton Oilers. If you were in the live with me on TikTok, I appreciate y'all being there. Very emotional for me. Very emotional for everybody who was in the live. Y'all were excellent audience. It was jumping on TikTok. My live announcement just to get on there had 56,000 views circulated. There was 1,000 plus people there's 1,000 plus viewers of the live. In total, it was jumping. Like, it was so fun. That was the best Aris's game of the week. And no matter what happens, that almost probably will always be so incredible to be in there, dude. Just absolutely phenomenal. And And yeah, to see the Coyotes play their final game and emerge victorious in a 5-2 win over the Edmonton Oilers live from Mullet Arena, and to see the send off, so many people in the crowd, in tears. The players obviously sad. It was a sad departure, but that was it. That was the last game of the Arizona Coyotes. As we know it, as we know them, that rendition of them. The team is relocating to Salt Lake City, but this is an interesting thing because this is a relocation expansion. We have seen this. Do y'all know who my favorite NFL team is? If you watch the podcast and you know me, you know who it is. It's the Baltimore Ravens. That's the only the Atlanta Falcons are the only Atlanta team I did not grow up supporting. This is just the way it kind of fell. I am a Ravens diehard. And my Ravens were born from a relocation expansion where, funny enough, who is now our rivals, the Cleveland Browns relocated to Baltimore and were rebranded as the Baltimore Ravens just for Cleveland to have an inactive team, but the franchise to resume via expansion. They retained the name, the branding, the rights, all of that, and then resumed as the Browns a few short years later. The NHL's about to do their version of that. At least it looks like. So I posted my goodbye today on socials. It was on TikTok. I posted it on Instagram. Go get that. A very emotional goodbye. One of the best videos I've ever put together. I don't care how many views it gets. One of the best views I've ever put together. It's probably at 7,000 on TikTok. If I get off this, it might be at 10,000 plus. Screw the view count. The sentiment was for the Coyotes fans, especially. That video was for Coyotes fans. But it was also for NHL fans as well, because I told y'all, do not forget the Arizona Coyotes. You may not have an option to forget them because they might stay on your mind. They might come right back, and it's looking like they're going to. This all falls now on Alex Morello. Commissioner Bettman now laid it out to the public. They had a press conference today. He answered these questions, and he was legit. He was straight up about it. Alex Morello, you got 5 years, and then you got specific timelines and requirements that you need to meet in a timely manner for you to get this team back and for them to bring the Coyotes back fully. And it begins with the land auction, I believe, on June 27th is the date. He has got to win that land. And I'm sorry. He could drop this venture so quickly and just not care. But I'm sorry. I would like to think that him doing all this talking and, he talks about he hates the media and stuff and tries to, just doesn't want to be involved with the media too much. And I mean, I get that. A bunch of people did. But, with him doing all this talking and everything, and even being given this opportunity, I have to think that Alex Morello is not just stringing along the Arizona market, the Phoenix market. Oh my God, that would be disgusting. You better win that damn land auction on June 27th. There is no reason you can't. You got enough money. You ain't penny pinching. So, but it starts there. And then from there is a 5-year window where we can see the Arizona Coyotes pull the Cleveland Browns and be reactivated in the NHL. I don't want to say the 33rd team, because with expansion floating around, maybe we have Houston there and then Arizona joins them and we have kind of a lopsided league until they expand east. But in terms of expanding east, you might see Atlanta be 33rd with everything going on. Bill Daley recently was, I guess must have talked to the media or something, and people were talking about, he confirmed that there's more than 2 ownership groups in Atlanta, and how, we'll see how things progress there in terms of Atlanta expansion and everything. But you might see the Coyotes come in with Atlanta, and you want to talk about hockey fans being pissed? Not in those markets, but hockey fans are going to be pissed, which is crazy, because I feel like if they would have awarded it to competent ownership that actually give a damn about hockey instead of trying to collect the check in the past, we wouldn't have to go back to Arizona, and we damn well wouldn't have to go back to Atlanta for a third time. So if you're mad, maybe you should be more mad at the NHL for these blunders. And it's okay. We all mess up in life. But maybe you should be mad at the NHL for these blunders and billionaires, not people who were expected to fund the lives. I've said this a billion times. Expected to fund the lives of billionaires that were openly spitting in their faces and running their teams into the ground. But call them bad fans. But we'll see y'all if y'all call them bad fans in those first sellouts when they get back to the cities and when they continue to thrive in those markets. Some of y'all are hell-bent on holding back the game of hockey. Meanwhile, the other sports leagues thrive in those cities, but the NHL is the one that can't get it right. Don't make me use that failed test analogy again. If you're the only one in the classroom that failed the test, all right. As for the Coyotes, they will not be known as the Coyotes anymore. We now know that. The NHL even put out a statement on Thursday. I'm sure you saw it on Instagram and around socials that the Coyotes' history will be retained in Arizona. Why? Because they got to reactivate that. So Salt Lake City, I will give y'all a formal welcome to the league soon. To my Salt Lake City listeners, because I've gained some Salt Lake City hockey fans on here, welcome to the NHL. But I will give y'all a formal video and hype. And y'all know how I do with my content. That's why you following me and listen to me now. If you new, then welcome. But I will give y'all a full welcome when y'all get y'all team name and brand and all of that, bruh. Y'all got to do that. So Utah to Atlanta announced on Utah to Atlanta. Oh my God, I can't wait for that. Oh my God, I'm gonna be freaking unbearable when they announce that. I'm gonna be ruthless to y'all. Y'all thought I was ruthless during the expansion post. Y'all thought I was ruthless during Thrasher's night. I'm gonna run y'all in the ground when they. Anyway, some of y'all not gonna like me, but the majority of my audience will. Let's be real. The majority of my audience supports it. It's pretty much people that don't follow me, and I don't need you to follow me. I don't give a damn. So the majority of my audience is going to be pretty hype, even the ones not from Atlanta, because they support it too. Like, I got Canadians that are like, y'all got done wrong. People in northern markets. New York is one of the big ones that always supports it. Yeah, a lot of y'all. So it's not just people from Atlanta that would support that. But what happened on Thursday was the NHL formally announced the NHL to Utah. Ryan Smith and everything. The deal is done. Board of Governors unanimous vote approved the Coyotes moving. And it's a done deal. So Salt Lake City, I will give y'all a formal welcome into the league. God, I'm so hungry. I will give y'all a formal welcome into the league when you pick your name and your branding. Now, I would be disgusted, and I'm sorry, this is unacceptable from the NHL, because you know that the Coyotes, nonetheless, even with everything that transpired, that was a franchise that had a lot of dysfunction, and you're going to go to Utah, and you're even entertaining the idea that it would be acceptable for that franchise to start the season without a name? You better not. They should not even be allowed to do that. Talking about some Utah HC. Boy, I did a poll on my Instagram story. Utah Yetis won. I put up some of the top names that were being speculated. There was actually a report, because you can go on the USPTO. I have a trademark myself, and I've got more coming on the way. Stay tuned. Some of them regarding. Stay tuned. But yeah, it's publicly accessible information, and trademarks were recently filed for a number of names. And Utah Yetis had been rumored for a while. That is personally my pick. I love the fictional creatures thing. It's like so dope. The Kraken killed it with that. Yetis is hard like that too. And hopefully someday someone does the Minotaurs. And there's like a lot of cool ones that people can do that are mythical creatures. Although I don't know if anybody can do the Moby Dicks. Anyway, so the Utah Yetis was my pick, and that was the one that did win on my poll. It had like 46% of the people, and I think over 200 people voted on it. As for the second place finish, I believe was the Blizzard. That is also my second choice. It's so funny because people know what the two best names are, but the names that had trademarks, I believe, were the Blizzard, the Venom, the Fury. Who I had the Venom on my story as well. I did not have the Fury as a poll option, but that was a trademark filed. And then the other one was like Utah Hockey Club and Utah HC. That is unacceptable. That cannot happen, even if it's short term. We're not doing the Washington football team thing. No, I'm sorry. When you want to buy an NHL team, Ryan Smith, and everybody trusts you as an owner, so I'm going to trust you too. But when you knew you wanted to buy an NHL team, you should already had in your mind with your ownership group, what are we thinking that the name could be? Unacceptable. No. They better not. That's unacceptable. Utah Yetis would be that easy. However, if I actually could pick one, and the only reason this is not my number one option, it is my favorite, but it's not my number one option because I know they wouldn't do it because I don't think we have to talk about it, Utah. The Mormon population would accept this, but it's dope. The Latter-day Skates, not the Latter-day Saints, but the Latter-day Skates would be the most unique name in sports. They will not do it. It hasn't even been mentioned as an option, and they will not do that. But the Latter-day Skates would be the most unique name in professional sports. And I'm going to leave it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed the bracket challenge. Utah, I will give y'all a formal announcement, but you got to have a team name, buddy. And if y'all go in with Utah HC, I'm not going to lie. You want to put in half effort, then I'm going to give y'all a half video. So, and that's just how it is. I want y'all to always remember the Arizona Coyotes, but it's not over. I said the chapter is closed for now. Go get that video on TikTok and Instagram. Keep up with the bracket challenge. Join the league. The invite is down in the description. Y'all, I gotta get something to eat. I gotta go to sleep as well after that. And also, I gotta go listen to this Drake diss again because I don't even understand what this man just did. I don't even know what to say. I don't know what Kendrick Lamar is gonna do. I love them both, but oh my goodness. I'm feeling a lot of emotions, and we're going to feel a lot of emotions next week, depending on where the playoffs go and when I come back for episode 8. I'm going to see y'all. Tap in.